Welcome back, and let's head over to Davos, where Yahoo Finance's editor-in-chief, Andy Serwer, is standing by with U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. Andy.
Thanks very much, Jared. Yes, I'm here with Secretary Raimondo. Nice to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to do it. Nice to see you.
So we do want to talk to you about economics, of course, but I wanted to start off by getting your reaction about the school shooting in Texas yesterday and what your feeling on this is, given that you're a parent and you're a governor of a state as well, and what message you would send to business leaders about this terrible tragedy.
Yeah. You know, it is a terrible tragedy, and I appreciate you starting with that. It's enough is enough. When is enough going to be enough? I would say the most important thing is that we can't become numb to this. You know, it's too frequent, obviously, and we can't become numb to it. Children being gunned down in their schools and their communities. So whether you're a business leader, a governor, a mayor, a member of Congress, you better wake up today asking yourself, what can I do to bring this scourge to an end in America? There is a solution here. It's actually not that hard. You know, common sense gun bills could change this. And I did a lot of it when I was governor. So I would say everybody, this isn't right. It could be your kids. It could be my kids. And we have the tools to solve it. So I would say speak out, advocate, or if you're in a position to change the laws, go ahead and do the right thing.
Yeah. I want to switch to Davos. We're here and ask you a little bit about the mood. You're talking to a lot of executives, obviously, and government leaders from other countries, perhaps. What are they saying? Are people concerned about a recession, Secretary Raimondo?
No, not at all. It's interesting. One executive I was just talking to, he said, it seems like people are trying to talk themselves into a recession, but there's no evidence to suggest we should be worried about it. You know, consumer spending is as high as it's ever been, no slowdown. People's bank accounts in good shape, labor market's really strong, businesses projecting strong growth. So I think that the economy is strong. Inflation is a different story. You know, there's a lot of nervousness about inflation. A lot of the political leaders from around the world. This obviously is not an America issue. You know, prices are up everywhere. And so I think where we really need to focus, obviously, is putting a lid on inflation. But as it relates to recession, I think the fundamentals of growth, of CapEx, companies planning to expand, is really quite strong.
Another reason you're here, I believe, is to talk to companies about helping to deter Russian aggression. It's a little cold out here. To deter Russian aggression. What are those conversations like?
Yeah. By and large, I've been here to say thank you to the American business community who have really stepped up to support the administration's efforts in Russia. And by the way, they're losing money, right? It's not profitable for them to pull out of Russia, but they're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And I think we ought to recognize that and thank them. What we are talking about here is the effectiveness of our sanctions. And the part of that I'm, on point for is denying Russia the technology and semiconductors that they need to conduct their military operation. We put together an unprecedentedly large and effective coalition. Europe joined immediately. And talking to the Ukrainians, by the way, the Ukrainians are here in Davos in force. It's a very respectable and impressive showing. They tell us it's working, so keep it up.
And you're not concerned about sanctions hurting just ordinary people in Russia?
No, because we have been quite targeted. We are specifically denying semiconductors, military equipment, avionics, aerospace. We are continuing to send medical devices, medicines, food, etc.
I want to ask you about your recent trip to Asia. Number of topics to get to there. You were talking, I believe, or President Biden was, about possibly removing tariffs to China. Is that a good idea, and what would be the impact on inflation?
Yeah, so it's something we are looking at. You know, the president, he will tell you his number one economic priority is bringing inflation under control. We get it. It's hard for Americans right now. And tariffs are one tool in the toolbox to bring down costs. So he has asked us, his advisors, to do an analysis. No decisions have been made. It's an ongoing analysis, and we're trying to figure out is it a good idea? Would it bring down inflation?
You have a new trade agreement, an Asian trade agreement. What would that do to sort of counteract China's influence?
So it's the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. We just rolled it out. I was with the president Monday in Tokyo. It's fantastic. We have a dozen countries representing with us 40% of the world's GDP. And it's really designed to help our economies work more closely together with their economies. And so I think there's a supply chain aspect to it, a semiconductor aspect to it, aligning on digital standards and tech standards. It's really, actually, it's the biggest economic arrangement the United States has ever launched with Asia. And the point of it is China's very strong in that region. If they're pouring tons of money into Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and those countries have told us they want the U.S. to be more present. Those countries have told us they want an affirmative American economic strategy in the region, and that's what this is.
Any fallout from the president's remark about defending Taiwan militarily when you're talking to chief executives?
No, it hasn't come up, not even once.
Okay. Let's talk about chips. One of your favorite topics.
Yes.
And I want to know how things are going with regard to the semiconductor shortage. Mm-hmm. Your take on that. The CEO of Intel, Pat Gelsinger, told us that he sees it persisting through into 2024. Is that your take?
Yes, at least 2023. I hope not 2024. That has come up constantly in most conversations I've had here. Medical device companies. I've met with CEOs of a few medical device companies. They are struggling to get the chips they need to make life-saving equipment. Every company here, every digital company, cloud computing company, they want to know, when is Congress going to pass the CHIPS Act? And my answer is not soon enough. I don't know why Congress is delaying.
Well, let me follow up on that. I mean, chips, apple pie, baseball. Who doesn't like chips? Why are they holding this up? And what are the reasons that this is being delayed?
There is no good reason, as far as I can tell. There's bipartisan support for it. It's a national security issue. There's 200 plus chips in every Javelin launching system. We are utterly dependent on Taiwan for our chips. There is no reason Congress wouldn't pass this tomorrow. I don't have a good answer for you, but I can tell you from being here, talking to world leaders, talking to CEOs, it's on the top of everyone's mind. And you talked about China. China's plowing ahead. China's investing $150 billion into domestic production of chips. So we're gonna miss out if we don't move.
Have any companies indicated to you they're going to look to do manufacturing outside the United States because they're concerned that the bill won't get passed?
Absolutely. That is exactly what will happen. Friday night, I was with the president in Seoul at a Samsung facility, biggest chip manufacturing company in the world. And you look around, it's amazing. We are at risk of losing that in America if Congress doesn't move. I've talked to maybe 4 CEOs of chip companies here. They've all said, we want to be in the U.S., but we can't wait any longer.
Really? And so how imminent do you think that might be?
Months. They have to make decisions.
Right.
They have to make their decision. They can't wait forever. I think if this isn't passed in the next couple of months, these companies, they have to. Singapore's offering incentives. Germany's offering incentives. Spain, France, Greece, Japan. So we could lose it.
Want to switch gears just quickly as we wrap up and ask you about the solar panel review. You're overseeing an investigation into that industry that could result in some new tariffs. What's the latest there, and when might that be completed? Yeah,
I don't have any news on that. We are moving as fast as we can. There's a statute that's quite rigid in a timeline we have to follow. I know it's urgent. This is urgent. We need to move forward on our solar goals, but I also have to do my job and follow the statute. So we're going to move as quickly as we can.
And just follow up on that. Are you concerned about any effects on climate efforts with regard to that in terms of the investigation's outcome?
As I said, we need to move forward quickly on solar. And I certainly have heard from the industry that certainty on this case will enhance their ability to invest and move faster.
Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.